The Atlas Infernal, on a high level, is a map of the entire Webway. The one who holds it could access the Black Library and the ancient and valuable Eldari knowledge that is held there, or go anywhere that the Webway will let them tread. But it raises questions. How can there be a map of the Eldar Webway? Who from Terra could have made it, and why? Who gave up the nullskins that coat its surface, and how did it get into the hands of an Inquisitor, when it used to be held within the Black Library of the Eldar? Friends, let's find out, and welcome to another 40k video, drawing on, surprise surprise, Atlas Infernal by Rob Sanders. The Atlas Infernal, Clute translated in a whisper. You stole this from the Eldar, liberated it from the Black Library of Chaos. Clute's face creased with disapproval. Zevak continued defensively. It's obviously Imperial. I stole back on artifact that was already stolen. It was hours before they took it, is the thing he's going for there. Clute carefully, unclasping the cover, opened the volume. A feeling of distaste and discomfort washed over the Inquisitor. He looked up at Zevak. It is corrupted? Clute asked. Quite the opposite. Clute forced himself to look inside the Atlas Infernal. Instead of paper was a stacked panel of lightweight golden frames, all built into the spine, that sat like pages between the Atlas Infernal's covers. Each page contained a piece of ancient flesh stretched to transparency across the frame, so that its labyrinthine network of veins, arteries and capillaries were visible at its surface. Clute was amazed to see that actual blood circulated through the tiny system set up within the pages of the Atlas. And he noted a mechanism was also there that fed oxygen to it by the clockwork pump in the spine. And then we get some explanation for how this strange device was put together. Before the heresy, ancient texts in the Black Library tell of the Emperor's efforts to create a human section of the Webway, connecting Terra to the rest of the galaxy through the Eldar's labyrinthine network of trans-dimensional tunnels. Through the Webway, and without the danger, uncertainty and inconvenience of warp travel, the Imperium's conquest of the galaxy would be complete. Events leading up to the heresy made this project impossible to pursue, and the human section of the Webway collapsed. This is a map of the Elder Webway, Clute marvelled. But created by whom? That I don't know, Zevak admitted. There is, however, some compelling evidence in the text itself. Scribbled over each were annotations, light scars, originally sliced into the flesh with a crystal tip quill. The casket covers of the tomb are made of a lightweight material that I have yet to identify. It is incredibly resilient, leading me to believe that it was originally armour. Amongst the filigree and detail, I found markings remarkably like those honouring the Terran unification wars. That doesn't answer my question, it just generates more. The guardians of the Imperial Palace and personal bodyguards of the Lord of the Imperium, the Emperor himself, would have worn such markings on their armour previous to the heresy. They would undoubtedly have provided security for a project as ambitious as building a human section of the Webway. The Magos, Ethericus, and Artisan's empire of the Adeptus Mechanicus are probably responsible for its construction, although I doubt the priesthood of Mars had seen anything of this kind for thousands of years. And the flesh? Clute interrupted, clearly unsettled. What unfortunate sacrifice themselves to become part of such a treasure? The Mechanicus and Custodes would have required psychic protection on the human section of the Webway, and the militant arm of the Adeptus Astra Telepathica would have been the ideal choice to deliver it. The Sisters of Silence were exclusively recruited from untouchable stock. This is the flesh of such a sister, a pariah, the black soul blood that still flows through these vessels, arteries and capillaries and veins, in representation of the Webway's labyrinthine pathways, as the nullified pathways of the Webway weave through the immaterial plane. Incredible, Clute mumbled in wonder. I can only imagine that this text was a macabre, if inventive, attempt to catalogue the wanderings of the unfortunate army of Custodes, Sisters and Mechanicus representatives working on and securing the human section of the Webway after their gateway to Terra collapsed. If the Webway is as expensive as we are told to believe, it to be, then how could one tomb, even one as fabulous as this, map it all? Look again, Zevak prompted. Klute looked back at the page he had been perusing. It's changed, he murmured in wonder. The blood vessels were reconfiguring. Fresh ones, flooded with blood, were now at the surface, while others had faded to obscurity in the parchment flesh as the flow of blood dissipated. The skin tone of the flesh had changed slightly also, allowing different scars to appear in the form of white scratch writings, annotating the new pattern on the page. Mirador, Zevak smiled. Cadia, presumably, before any Imperial foot had set down there. It certainly seems to be sensitive to the eyes on its pages, some sort of psychic reaction, perhaps. You want to return to Imperium, it shows you Cadia. They later leave the Webway, the static of interdimensional transference still clinging to the armour and clothing. The portal became dormant. Klute turned quietly, disturbed by the fact that the opening he'd just stepped through was now solid stone, ancient and flaking. Zevak completed a sequence of subtle hand signals in front of the glowing glyphs and runes etched into the wraithbone that encircled the stone, sealing off the link with the labyrinthine dimension. Zevak has history with the Eldar, which is why he knows that. Looking beyond the soul-defined gateway, Klute found that the Webway portal was part of the surrounding architecture. He joined the others on a ruined balcony that commanded a view of the structure and the demonic world upon which they had arrived. So you can see the value of this map, and certainly should it fall into the hands of someone chaos-aligned, the forces of chaos could appear and leave the Imperium at will, striking and withdrawing before the Emperor's followers can muster a command to counter them. And in most cases, the Emperor's forces would not be able to strike back against them because they would have gone back into the Webway. So it's a comfort that the Atlas Infernal is currently in the hands of the High Inquisitor Bronislaw Zevak, who is a member of the Ordo Xenos, part of the Inquisition. He was close with the Eldar, and a group of Harlequins offered him to spend the last few years left to him at that time in his life in the Black Library and its incredible knowledge store. And it's from there he took the Atlas. The time spent in the Webway also rejuvenated him, and now he guards it, though he is always pursued by the forces of chaos. And he of course uses the advantage of the Atlas to stay ahead of them, even avoiding sorcerers such as Ahriman of the Thousand Suns, who desires it, because with it they could find the Eldari Black Library and its knowledge, and then Ahriman could use that to restore his brothers. So now, friends, I turn things over to you. What do you think to the Atlas Infernal and the Inquisitor that guards it? Does his theory of its creation hold up? Comment down below. And I just want to make one more observation here at the end of the video, just something that's not in the script that's occurred to me. Even if these people are wandering around the Webway, the Adeptus Mechanicus people, Custodes, Sisters of Silence, and at some point they decide to make this book and make notes of where they go. Even, I think, the life of the Custodes could not fully explore the Webway, which stretches all throughout the warp, connecting with different points in the 40k Materium galaxy. So I think that this may be an Atlas and that this may show some of the Webway, but I highly doubt it shows all of it, but probably enough to give you an advantage. So on that note, friends, I'll wrap up the video.